Welcome to the B.F. Anderson Technical Report for May the 20th. The purpose of these indicators is to help understand the point of market timing. Timing can be very important. So what we're doing here is we're using a series of indicators to help us determine that. So here's the NASDAQ. What we're doing here is we've got a 10-day moving average, 50-day moving average. Now you can see here with the NASDAQ, we started to get a break back here, a rally, and then we got another break and then violation. So the NASDAQ is in pretty rough shape. However, hopefully will stabilize in this area. The second indicator we're going to look at is the MidCap index. You can see also here, you got the break, the violation, now breaking the 50-day moving average, continues to look difficult. Here's the New York Composite, which has been the strongest index out there because it's mainly financials and oils and things of such types of stocks. But you can see here that we got the break, but however, we do not really have a violation of the trend. Small caps, we've got the break, we've got the pullback. It is below the 50-day moving average, so the small caps aren't looking great. The S&P large cap, here we have the break again. Here's the violation. We broke below the 50-day moving average, but came back somewhat. Okay, now on the longer term index, which is the 35-week moving average, you can see here that we continue to hold above it, but we're pretty close. The only other point I would make is that we made a high in the index on a weekly basis and then a lower high. Now we're somewhat rolling over. On the aggression index, you can see here that it is really, the levee has broken on the growth stocks, because what we're looking at here is the aggression index having to do with growth stocks, and it is pretty much broken down. And as you can see here on the actual indicator, we have gotten a sell signal. Now, this is the first sell signal we've had in quite a while, but maybe it'll flatten out and then we can consolidate. New lows have picked up somewhat, a little bit troubling. We're starting to see a few new lows, quite a few new lows above 40 on the New York Stock Exchange. Now on the inverted yield curve, no inversion, continues to be constructive. Now we're seeing some improvement here in sentiment. This is the survey done by American Association of Individual Investors. You can see we're somewhat pulling back into the neutral zone. This is an improvement. PutCall Ratio, same thing. We've been down here in greed in a very big way, starting to move back towards neutral. Now this is very important. This is the Barclays High Yield Bond Fund. This is a junk bond fund compared to Treasury bonds. You can see here that junk bonds continue to be in an uptrend relative to Treasuries, because this is a ratio. If we were seeing a recession coming, you would see a rollover, something like this. But it doesn't look like the problem is recession. It appears that the problem could be inflation, and we're seeing signs of that. Visa, which is our way of kind of keeping an eye on consumption patterns, we got the break in the Visa stock price, then we got a violation right here, broke the 50-day, but somewhat holding. On the VIX, we saw a spike in the VIX, pulled back, came back a little bit, but we're seeing an increase in volatility. On our economic indicators, interest rates, amazingly, with all the talk about inflation, we're seeing that interest rates are staying relatively flat. Price of oil, relatively flat. The financial stocks have actually kind of peaked and are turning down somewhat. So that is interesting to me, that with all the talk of inflation, you would think interest rates would be moving substantially higher. Now, what I want to do here is just go through a series of indexes and charts, and we're going to move quickly here. This is metals and mining. You can see here, very strong, however, broke the 10-day today. Financial stocks, been very strong, broke the 10-day today, however, consolidating. Energy stocks, same thing. We've been seeing a lot of strength in the energy stocks, however, they did break below the 10-day. So we're getting breaks, but no violations. Now on software, that's a different story. The tech stocks have really been a problem here. You can see here a peak, a pullback, a lower peak, and now we're getting a pullback again, and we've actually broken below the 200-day moving average. So the tech stocks are really in trouble here. Looks like to me the levee has broken. Here is ARC Innovation, which is a high technology mutual fund or exchange traded fund, breaking down, definitely in a downtrend, broke below the 200-day. This is kind of a fund that did really well last year, but is having trouble now. Here is emerging markets, which we're keeping an eye on, pretty flat, not much going on there, but I did want to mention it. Here is Bitcoin. This is the Bitcoin Trust. You can see here we've gotten a violation, a breakdown. The 10 days actually moved below the 50-day, somewhat of a major sell-off here. This Bitcoin thing looks to be kind of losing steam. Now here are the top 5. You're going to notice, again, the continuing theme here. Here's energy. Cimarex Energy continues to stay in an uptrend, however, did break below the 10-day. Here's Nucor, which is steel. Holding the uptrend, did break below the 10-day, but is holding relatively strong. You know, when it comes to inflation, one thing to realize is that the companies that have input costs, where they're building, you know, where they need steel or they need wood or they need materials, and then their final product, they've got to be able to raise their prices in order to keep up with the higher input costs. So steel would be an example of that, because steel is in a position to take advantage of higher prices. This is Revolve Group, which is a retail stock having to do with millennial spending. You can see here, somewhat broke down. I would let this one cook a little bit, not quite ready. This is Cleveland Cliffs, which again is steel, somewhat broke down below the 10-day. Callon Petroleum, energy again, we broke below the 10-day, consolidating. So all in all, the market is it's having a difficult time here. With the fears of inflation, we're going to have to reevaluate a lot of what we're doing. So if you have any questions, please give me a call. Thank you very much.